Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to all of you in our new lecture, lecture 20. My dear students, in our previous lecture, we just got finished chapter 13 and the last topic, which was muscles and movement, we discussed in our previous lecture. Today, I'm here to start a new chapter, chapter 14, and the title of the chapter is reproduction. So first of all, we need to know what is reproduction. So the definition of the reproduction is the production of organisms belong to same species is called reproduction. My dear students, reproduction is a fundamental characteristic of living organism. This is fundamental characteristic of living organisms that they must reproduce. But it is not essential for the life processes like respiration and digestion. It's not like that. An individual an individual can survive without reproduction. An individual can survive without reproduction, but the species can't survive without reproduction. Why? For example, we have an organism which is not reproducing. So there is an end of the life of every living organism. You know, كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Everything will die, every living organism will die. So if there is a death, this organism will finish and there will be no continuity. But if this organism keep reproduction and its offsprings are present, this organism will die, but its offspring will keep continue that species, and the process will be continued, and that species will exist on the earth. But when you just got minus the reproduction, then how a species will survive? It is not impossible that the species can survive without the process of reproduction. My dear students, there are two fundamental types of reproduction, and these types are sexual reproduction, and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, there must be fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes. Gametes of what? Gametes, male gametes and female gametes will fuse and will form the zygote. So it means that there must be formation of gametes, and gametes are always haploid. So there will be meiosis, is a type of cell division in which the number of chromosomes will be half. So haploid male gamete and haploid female gamete will form a zygote which will be diploid. Along with the haploid number, there is variation. There is crossing over in meiosis, and that crossing over bring variation, and variation is very important for the survival of a species on the earth. It's very important. On the other hand, asexual reproduction doesn't require fusion of gametes, but it is through simple cell division like mitosis, and the offspring will be the exact copy of the parent. There will be no variation. Why? Because crossing over just occur in meiosis, but in mitosis there is no crossing over, so the offspring will be the exact copy of the parent, and it should be by simple mitosis. So both of the reproduction types exist in plants and animals both. But asexual reproduction in animals, if I just talk about the animals, so it is more common in simple unicellular organisms, in invertebrates, and very rarely in vertebrates. On the other hand, sexual reproduction is very common in plants and animals, and especially in higher animals. In lower animals, then the sexual reproduction is very rare, and asexual reproduction is very common. But in higher animals and plants, so sexual reproduction is a very common way of reproduction, which usually exist in these groups of plants and animals, which are advanced groups, are having complex bodies. So let's start in some methods by which asexual reproduction occur, and we will also discuss the examples that in which class usually this type of reproduction occur. So let's start. Methods of asexual reproduction. Again, I will repeat the definition of asexual reproduction, that asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which there is no fusion of gametes, but by simple cell division, usually the reproduction occurs. The first method is the binary fission. Binary fission. 2 and the fission mean division are splitting. The splitting or division of organism into two daughter organisms. My dear students, this method of reproduction is very common in prokaryotes. What are prokaryotes? Prokaryotes are those organisms which consist of prokaryotic cells. And prokaryotic cells are those cells which like membrane bonded organisms. And the example of prokaryotes is the bacteria, cyanobacteria. So first example from prokaryote, and that is bacteria. That inside the bacteria how the binary fission occur. This is a parental bacteria. What usually occurs? It's the DNA of the bacterium. First, the DNA of the bacteria will replicate and we will get another copy of the bacterial DNA, and finally we will get two copies, and after getting two copies there will be invasion in the middle. In the middle there will be an invasion start, and that invasion, that depression will deepen. Finally we will get two daughter bacteria. So if we explain this whole process in two steps, so the first step is the division of the nuclear material, replication of the nuclear material, and the second step is the division of the cytoplasm, which is also called as cytokinesis. So this type of division is called binary fission, and the examples from the prokaryote. Then example from eukaryotes, and eukaryotes from protozoa. We have an example here. From protozoa we have an example, and the organism which we will discuss is amoeba. All of you know very well that amoeba is the most simple eukaryotic organism. This is, and its shape is irregular shape and no permanent shape. It have same thing that, but here the DNA we have, but in amoeba we have proper nucleus because it's a eukaryotic cell. So first nuclear division and karyokinesis will occur. Two daughter nuclei is found, and after two daughter nuclei, again there will be a depression, invasion, and at the result we will get two daughter amoeba. This is an example from the simple eukaryotes, protozoans. The next is from some invertebrates, especially from Funaria. It's a worm, a flatworm, invertebrates. Invertebrates are those animals which lack the backbone on the vertebral column. Planaria. Planaria belongs to phylum Platyhelminthes. In Planaria, if the planaria body is divided into two pieces, each Peace. The lower piece will also develop into a new plane area. So from one parent plane area we got two daughter plane area, but one thing which is very important, if you think that I will divide plane area in this plan, and from each part we will get a daughter plane area, this is not possible. The only possibility, you can cut plane area on this way, not longitudinally. You can't cut it. Why? Because it's a bilaterally symmetrical organism. It's not possible that you will cut it on this direction and you from each part you will get only plane of division will be this plan, right? Now this is all about binary fission. One fission I wish to share with you is multiple fission. Multiple fission, this is another fission which is different from the binary fission. Multiple fission. And multiple fission is the type of division in which usually from one organism we get many copies of the organism, many daughter organisms, and this usually occurs in amoeba when there is unfavorable situation. Unfavorable situation, I will explain unfavorable situation also. It forms a cyst around itself. This is called cyst, and the process of formation of cyst around the body is called encystment. And when there is an unfavorable situation, what does it mean by unfavorable situation? Unfavorable circumstances. Unfavorable circumstances, unfavorable situations means that the pH become changed, or the food is not available, or the temperature got changed. These three changes can lead to the amoeba. It creates you can say that the unfavorable conditions can be produced for amoeba if there is no food, if change in pH occur, if change in temperature occur. So then what the amoeba do? That the amoeba divide its nucleus into many copies. But this is also important to tell you that encystment can occur for unlimited time. If the conditions are unfavorable, it will remain encysted, and there is no framework, there is no frame of time that on which time it will finish its encystment. When the favorable situation comes, then from each nucleus, cell membrane is just got cover the nucleus, and from this encystment many daughter amoebas are found. That's why this method is called as multiple fission. But I told you, this is the situation, this is a method which will be applied in unfavorable circumstances, in unfavorable situation. In the normal situation, the binary fission will occur. Hope that you people got the idea of the binary fission, the three examples, and then the multiple fission. Now let's move towards another method of asexual reproduction. next is the fragmentation. When an organism is split into many pieces and, and each piece are fragment. Each fragment, each piece, many pieces and each piece are fragment develop into an organism. What is the example? This example is from Planaria, phylum Platyhelminthes. The body of the Planaria, if you divide it into 8 or 9 pieces, each piece will develop into a new planaria. Each piece will develop into a new planaria. Again, I will say, you can't cut planaria on this plan. You can cut only on this plan, and this is due to the symmetry of the animal. It's a bilaterally symmetrical animal. That's why. The next one is budded. Number 3. Budded. First of all, we need to know bud. What is bud? Bud is an outgrowth. So the type of reproduction in which an outgrowth is developed on the body of an organism, and that outgrowth or that bud then later on detach from the parental body and become an independent organism. This method is called as budding. In yeast, which is a unicellular type of yeast, which is a unicellular fungus. Fungi belongs to Ascomycota group, fungi. It's a fungi. And what usually occur in spelling of the yeast is yeast. It's a fungus, and this is the body of the parental body of the yeast. So what usually occurs normally that an outgrowth develop, and there is a division of nucleus first, and then this outgrowth growing size, when it attains the parental size, it will detach from the parent and then it will start budding. And it's a continuous process. That's why the yeast usually reproduce in a very rapid rate. If there is a warm temperature or there is a warm environment, then the yeast can multiply in very rapid rate, and the method is the budding. But budding not only occurs in yeast, but in invertebrates. In invertebrates, we have an example of Hydra. No need to tell you what are invertebrates. Hydra, which belong to phylum Cnidaria or Salentrata. Hydra. It's an aquatic organism, and usually this is the body of the Hydra. These are called tentacles, and there is an outgrowth the bud develop on the body, which grow in size, and later on it detach from the parental body and become an independent Hydra. Hydra is a salentrate animal, and it's aquatic, and in aquatic it's a marine. It's found in oceans. Next one is the spore formation. This method is very common in fungi, especially I will give you example of Rhizopus, which is a member of Zygomycota class in fungi, and it's very common. It's called bread mold. If you keep the bread in the kitchen and after some time there is a green layer appear on the bread, that is Rhizopus. And the Rhizopus, if you study its mycelium, it consists of this broad structure which is called sporangium. And there is a spore mother cell inside the sporangium, which first divide meiotically and then mitotically divide, and many haploid spores. These haploid structures which are found inside sporangium are called spores. When the sporangium got mature, it ruptured and the spores comes out, and when these spores germinate, they will again form the new mycelium of the Rhizopus. So this method of reproduction, which are called by spore, this is called spore formation. Next we are moving towards another very important method, parthenogenesis. And I will take advantage of this topic, and along with parthenogenesis I will also explain parthenocarpy. Parthenogenesis, first parthenogenesis. The type of asexual reproduction organism develop. If they, as you will think that egg is present, which is a female gamete, but the male gamete is not present. That's why we can't say it's a sexual reproduction. Just egg, just one type of gamete is present. That's why this is an asexual reproduction. Example, many examples we have, but insects, especially honeybee, example is very good. In honeybee family, in honeybee family, there is a queen, and in ants also, okay? Honeybee workers and drones. Usually, the queen produce two types of eggs: fertilized eggs from which new queen may form and workers are formed, and from unfertilized eggs the drones are produced. And you should keep in mind that the drones are sterile. Any organism which develop through parthenogenesis must be sterile. What does it mean by sterile? It will not be able to reproduce. It will be sterile. So the drones are sterile. This method also occurs in ants. In ants there is also queen, and along with some fishes. This method is present, and frogs sometimes, but in insects it's very common. Along with parthenogenesis, let me to tell you about parthenocarpy. The production of fruit without fertilization. Production of fruit without fertilization. As seed is producing the result of sexual reproduction, so in parthenocarpic fruit there is no seed. There are some natural parthenocarpic fruits like banana, no seed it have. And artificially we can do it by using some chemical, if some chemicals like colchicine we spray on the plants, then there will be no reproduction, there will be no fertilization, no fertilization like seedless grapes. This is the result of, and any seedless fruit will be parthenocarpic fruit. So this is a main difference between parthenogenesis and parthenocarpy. Now, dear students, we are going towards vegetative propagation. What does it mean by vegetative propagation? Vegetative part is that part of the plant by which the reproduction doesn't occur. Sexual reproduction doesn't occur. The reproductive part of the plant, the sexual reproductive part of the plant is flower. So rather than the flower, stem, leaf, root. Stem, leaf, root, these are vegetative parts. The parts which doesn't participate in the sexual reproduction, these parts are called vegetative parts. And when propagation occur through vegetative parts, then this is called vegetative propagation. Like bulbs of onion, if we plant bulbs of onion, new plant can comes out of onion plant. Corms, we have rhizomes. Corms example, colocasia is a good example. Rhizomes like gingers, tubers like potato, along with bryophyllum, leaf suckers, through suckers, the vegetative propagation can occur. So there are many methods of the vegetative propagation naturally and artificially by cutting, grafting. There are so many methods by which usually vegetative propagation can occur. So this was all about, my dear students. I think it's enough for today. And the next lecture 21, inshallah, we will start sexual reproduction in plants, and sexual reproduction in flowering plants especially will be our topic. Hope that you people got good understanding of today's lecture. See you next lecture. Stay at home and stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.